Nice to meet everyone. Yeah, I'm adulting, but my hat's still backwards. So in 2011, I was in my third year of a finance and economics double major in college. Not by choice. I come from a long line of engineers. My dad's a math teacher, actually, a professor of economics. And he said, business school is the only way you'll earn a living. So I did the most responsible adult thing I could do, which is I withdrew from school. And I spent the next two years working on a farm, unsure of where my life would take me. It's at this moment that you question all those assumptions you have about adulting, adulthood. What does it all mean? I did the only thing someone like me could do, which is go to a seminary where all the crazy people go, to talk a little bit about God, from the invisible hand of the market to the hand that supposedly is there right in the Bible. And as a Jewish person, this was a rabbinical seminary. And the first rabbinical school I went to, I shared my story about the understandings I have about economics, and they, casually looked at each other. They said the same things my parents said. This guy's a wackadoo. And I did not get into many seminaries, but finally I found one progressive seminary that fit where I was coming from, and it was a long slog. But I had people who were looking out for me. In fact, I started doing the only job that I could do, other than working with little kids who didn't understand economics, is I would work with people who were very close to passing away. I was doing chaplaincy rounds for hospice. And this was very easy. When people are that far advanced, usually they can't process too much, and you're there with them for their final moments. It's a place that I'm very comfortable, because I've meditated on death quite a lot. And there was one individual in particular, a man named Sam Brody. And this is the story of the first person I put in the ground, because you fake it till you make it, as any millennial will tell you. And Sam Brody, when I walked into his room after visiting a dozen other individuals, first thing he said is, "Help me stand up." And I did just that until his two big nurses rushed in the room and instructed me that he can't stand up. In fact, his legs had stopped working 5 years ago, and he fell to the floor. But I picked him up, I put him back in his bed. I was smarter the second time around. When I came to visit him, I brought a drum so that I could play for him. Sometimes when people aren't very religious, they just want to be with someone. I sang him a yoga chant, because a progressive seminary will teach you those things. And he really enjoyed that. In fact, he enjoyed it so much, he told me about his girlfriend, 25 years younger than him. I think he was trying to brag to me. He told me about how often they did it, how often that they would come to see each other. In fact, she visited him while I was visiting him, and he was right. She was beautiful and gorgeous, and love can happen even when you're 97 years old, folks. So our relationship progressed, and I learned more about him. In fact, he was a World War II hero. He had volumes of things that he did, awards that he had won, people who he'd inspired. A movie was made after him. Every time I visited him, another person of significant merit would be there, and slowly his body filled with water. First by his feet, then his ankles, his knees, his legs, his stomach. It wasn't just his legs that stopped working, his whole body slowly stopped to work. And as I was learning in the seminary, I never thought I would actually become a rabbi. That was beyond me. I thought the economy would collapse. But Sam would throw his channel changer at the television and tell me otherwise. And he continued to do that until one morning at CVS, I got a call from his daughter, Jill. And she was in tears, and she said, "Come to his room." And I went to his room, and he had expired about 30 minutes before I had gotten there. And his daughter was there. She was playing on her phone a yoga chant called Akal, which is what you would do when the body is still there, but the soul has left the body. It's before you inter the body. And I was there for her, and I said, Jill, what can I do for you? I was expecting someone to show up who was going to take this war hero and know what to do with his remains. She goes, you didn't know. You're the rabbi he asked to bury him. And Sam Brody was a man of many talents. And he was my first person. He was the first person who was able to believe in someone who was thoroughly unqualified to shuttle his soul into the next world. But he didn't believe that, so he cared about me.